Al-Shabaab, which means the youth, says the Nairobi Mall attack is in retaliation for Kenya's involvement in Somalia. Kenyan troops have been part of an African Union effort to push the militants out of Somali cities. For more context on this, we turn to J. Peter Pham in Washington. He's director of the Atlantic Council's Africa Center. I want to start by asking you this. Are we seeing a new Al-Shabaab, an Al-Shabaab that is going to start attacking more and more regional areas as opposed to just focusing in on trying to deal with the situation in Somalia?
Sarah, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. There's long been a tension within Shabaab between those who focused on establishing an Islamist state in Somalia and those who, with links to Al-Qaeda Central and other militant groups around the greater Middle East and Africa, who wanted to have a more transnational agenda to carry the jihad to the foreigner, to the infidel, so to speak. And it's clear that after the loss of territory to the African Union, peacekeepers, including the Kenyans, that the group that had the more radical agenda has gained the upper hand. And this is probably the first of, unfortunately, several moves they're going to make.
I want to ask you, why, for example, does Al-Shabaab recruit in the United States, in Britain, and in other areas outside, particularly the West? And how does that help the group? How does that push the group's ideology forward?
Well, it helps on several different levels. One is we have these, as Brian Todd just reported, we have these marginalized youth, these young men looking for something, and so they're ripe to, low-hanging fruit for a group like Al-Shabaab. Add to that Shabaab managed to marry both a simplistic Islamist ideology with the call of Somali nationalism, fighting against the foreigner in Somalia. So it was a very romantic vision that these young men were susceptible to. And then it enables them to do something no other Al-Qaeda affiliate has really ever managed to do. We've had Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula launch attacks against the U.S. homeland. We've had lone wolf operators who reached out to Al-Qaeda Central. But Al-Shabaab is the only Al-Qaeda affiliate that has successfully created a pipeline both for recruits and for financing and material support within the U.S. So this is its calling card within the larger terrorist network.
I want to ask you about its structure. We hear networks, terrorist network, but how big is this group in particular? And also, is it a loose structure? In other words, it's not just one group, but many different tribes or many different areas where it exists.
Well, Shabaab was originally a coalition, if you will, of various Islamists, some with a more Somalia-focused agenda, some with a transnational agenda, some foreign fighters. So it was really a loose organization. But since its military defeats the last 2 years, the organization has been narrowing its focus. And so what's come up on top, the remnant of the group, is a smaller, but ironically more cohesive group that has a transnational agenda. So we've gone from a guerrilla insurgency into a full-blown terrorist organization.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter Pham, there for us, giving us some insight into the terror group Al-Shabaab.